Welcome back to my channel, guys. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about the menstrual cup. I wanted to start out this video by giving you guys some background information about myself so that you guys can kind of not really compare yourself to me, but kind of see the similarities between if we have things in common or not, or if you are going to experience the same things that I'm going to experience. So I got my period in 5th grade, and I'm 17 years old now, so I've had it for a while. I am a virgin, so a lot of people say that if you're a virgin, you shouldn't use the menstrual cup because you don't experience things like that, but I was perfectly fine with using it. So if you are a virgin, you're fine. You don't have to, I'm just gonna stop there. I am currently, or before using a menstrual cup, I was a pad and tampon user, and so I didn't start using tampons until probably the end of middle school, just because of beach days and stuff. You can't wear a pad to the beach. And I would say that I have a pretty heavy flow. It's medium to heavy. I thought that I had a heavier period than I actually do because tampons fill up really fast, and I would have to change a regular tampon every 2 to 3 hours without leaking. The first couple days of my period, my flow is definitely very, very heavy, but surprisingly, when you use a menstrual cup, you find out that you actually aren't as heavy as you think that you are. I also get super, super bad period cramps the first couple days of my period, and the doctor actually told me to take 3 Advil, which is a lot for just 6 hours, so that's just crazy. And sometimes they don't even go away after using 3 Advil, so they're definitely to the point where sometimes I just have to lay in bed and I'm so uncomfortable that I'm ow, 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 ow. Pads and tampons have a lot of toxins. They absorb your natural body fluids, and so that definitely can make your pH unbalanced. Your menstrual cup does not absorb any of your body fluids, so you don't have to worry about an unbalanced pH. Menstrual cups are way, 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 way less expensive. This cup was $24. I got it off of Amazon. I will have it linked in the description box below. But one of these is $24. I know a box of pads or tampons is probably around $5 or something. But this can last you up to 10 years. And a pad lasts you 2 hours. So it's not the best. Pads and tampons are definitely not the best for lasting long, and this is definitely a lot less expensive than pads and tampons combined, and I don't even want to think about how much money my parents have spent on pads and tampons for me in the last couple years. It's also so much better for the environment. If you're going through one of these in 10 years, that is one of these going into the landfill instead of thousands of tampons and pads. Obviously, not everyone is going to like this, but I think it's worth a try, and I know that a lot of people are going to love it. I did watch a lot of different videos on YouTube about menstrual cups to make sure that I was doing the right thing, and I learned so much more about the menstrual cup that I did not know before. I didn't even know that it was a thing before health class, because when you first get your period, you don't learn about, menstrual cups or whatever. You learn about pads and tampons because that's the easiest thing to use when you're first getting your period. Feel free to go in the description and look at a bunch of links that I have down there. So the first thing that I did when I was trying to look for the menstrual cup that was for me is I took a quiz about which menstrual cup would be the best for me, and it said a menstrual cup that is good for physical activity because I am a dancer. Although I have not danced yet with this in because I'm scared that it's gonna leak and then it's gonna get into my tights and leotard, and I don't want that mess. So I haven't done it yet, but if you guys like this video, then I will definitely do an updated one in a couple months or something. I've gone through 4 periods so far with this menstrual cup, and I feel like I've done pretty well so far. It's definitely a learning process. It's just like pads and well, not really pads, because pads you just stick them in your underwear, But tampons, it's definitely a process, because I remember when I first started using tampons, I definitely was not an expert, and it was very uncomfortable for a couple weeks. When I took the menstrual quiz, it gave me 4 different cups that were great options, and the only one that I could find on Amazon was the Elena cup, which is actually the one that I ended up getting. But also on YouTube, they talked about the Maluna cup and the Lunette cup, and those two are also great for like beginners that have never used a menstrual cup before, and especially like virgins and teenagers. Those 2 cups are definitely 2 that are great if you're just starting out, because they are a little smaller. And one of the things it's going to ask you in your quiz is how long your cervix is, and so most people like don't know how long their cervix is, and so like it's kind of hard to know without like measuring it yourself, and the only way that you're gonna measure it yourself is by like sticking your finger up there. It's kind of uncomfortable, it's kind of awkward to talk about, but that's literally the only way that you can measure it. And so that's how you measure what size cup you're going to need. So personally, I did it at the beginning of my period, and then I did it at the end of my period, and then whatever the shortest measurement that I got, that was the cup size that I would have to get. So it would be that, so let's just say it was like 2 inches or something. So anything below 2 inches is a cup size that would be good for me. Anything above 2 inches is going to be too long, and it's going to be uncomfortable. So this cup was under 2 inches, and it worked out perfectly for me. It fits great. I will also leave a video linked in the description that will show you an example. It's not like on a person, it's on like a diagram, and they show you like how to measure your cervix. When you are looking for a menstrual cup to buy, the first thing that you need to focus on is comfort. You don't need to focus on how much it fills, because honestly, you would be surprised. Like, my period blood only goes up to like here, and I have like a very heavy flow, like if I'm using like tampons or something. So don't worry about like how much it holds, because you will find that it definitely holds way more than you thought it did. One of the things you need to focus on is diameter. So the diameter is this part, so like how big this area is going to be. And the only 2 factors that you need to worry about there is small or large. And a lot of different companies have different labels on what is small and what is large or whatever. So if it's your first time using a cup, a small cup will probably be the best one for you, especially if you're a teenager like me, because we have not had a baby, we have not done the dirty or anything like that. So a small cup is definitely good for you. I have a small cup. It works great. And another thing that they said, the only reason that you would need a large cup is like if you have like loose muscles in like your uterus area, like your cervix area, and or if you jump, you pee. So like if you sneeze and you pee, or like if you jump around and you pee yourself, then you would probably need a larger cup because your muscles aren't strong enough to hold the cup there. And then the second thing is the length, so making sure it fits in your cervix. And again, you will have to measure your cervix, and then anything under that measurement is perfectly fine for a cup size. The next thing that I did was I compared the 3 cups. So I narrowed it down to 3 different cups that I was looking at on Amazon. The first one was the Lena cup, the second one was the Luna cup, and then the third cup was the Lunette cup. And this one was the one that I ended up buying. It had the best reviews. It said that it was good for physical activity, it was good for beginners, and I totally agree with that. This was actually one of the ones that was in my quiz, so I definitely thought that if the quiz that I took said that this is the cup that I should get, then that's probably what I should get. And it was also made in the USA, so I know that I can trust that I'm getting it from a good source. Okay, now here's the best part. So this is the package that it comes in. Look how cute this bag is. Like, guys, look at that pattern. It's literally so cute. And then I have a pink one. You can get it in different colors. I think this was the only color that was available at the time. But yeah, I like this color a lot. And then it just goes right in there, and you store it just like that. And then this is the packaging that it came in. This is what it says on the box. Lena is a reusable silicone menstrual cup that collects rather than absorb your monthly blood flow. Lena offers a more comfortable, convenient, and economical period while eliminating product waste. You can wear Lena for 12 hours each time and dance, run, swim, and sleep. It holds way more than a tampon. So like, for example, a tampon, they say, oh, you can wear up to 8 hours or whatever. I can never go 8 hours without changing my tampon. But with this, their claims are definitely true. You can definitely go up to 12 hours. Definitely don't go past like 11 hours, I feel like, because then I feel like that could be like dangerous. The Lena Small, which is what I got, holds 25 milliliters, and then the Heavy Flow holds 30 milliliters, which I kind of disagree with because I have a heavy flow, and usually there's only one instance when I've woke up and it was like overflowing. But we'll get into that a little bit later. The next thing that it comes with is a little user guide, which is super helpful because it literally told me everything I needed to know about this cup. So, for example, it tells you about using the cup and that you need to boil it in water to make sure that all the bacteria and stuff is off of it. It shows you different folding methods in here. It goes step by step on insertion, and it shows you little diagrams of if you have a high cervix, what it's going to look like, or if you have a low cervix. And then it talks about the stem, which is the little part down here, which I recommend if you get this, do not cut off the stem. The stem helps literally so much with the removal part of taking out the menstrual cup, and if you cut this off, it's going to be way harder. Usually it slides up enough so that you don't even feel this, so like you don't really need to cut it off. It says I can't get my cup out, so like what to do if you can't get your cup out. My cup is leaking, so how to fix that. Now I'm going to get into my different cycles and how the process went for me, just so I can try to help you out and give you some tips and tricks on how to get it in. So my first cycle, I actually did not use it because I was kind of nervous to use it because it was a new product that my body had never used before, and so I really was trying to just be patient and not worry too much about the process. Day one, I was pretty nervous, I was pretty tense, and I just really wanted to get it up there. Obviously, it was the first day, I didn't make it very far, it was kind of painful, and it's only painful because it's not up there enough, but once you get up there, you will be totally fine. It's not really that uncomfortable. Obviously, this is bigger than a tampon, so it did not go in the first couple times that I tried it, so I was just like very patient with it, and I didn't force it into my body because obviously my body was kind of like neglecting it in a way because it was something foreign that was going into my body. Another thing that I did not do was I did not wet the menstrual cup, which is something that is really important when you're putting it in. Now I always wet it with hot water so that it just slides right in. Day two, I got it in a little bit further, but it wasn't far enough in, so it was still a little bit painful, and I was still getting familiar with it, so I was kind of trying to figure out how everything was working. And the reason that it's painful is that it's opening up too quickly, so I wasn't keeping it closed all the way until it went all the way up. I was opening it before it was even like all the way up, so that's why it's painful. And if it is painful, definitely take it out and like try to like remove it, because that is definitely not going to be the best. So after I tried a couple times each day to get it in, if I didn't get it in, then I just let it go. I wasn't gonna sit there for a half an hour trying to just like shove it in there and like, you know, because then I would just get frustrated, and I was really like trying to do my best to stay patient and not get frustrated if it didn't go in. So I just took it day by day, and I made progress every day. It went a little farther in every day until I got to my third day, which is when I got it all the way in. And this day I was more relaxed. So a tip that I would give you if you are starting out, you have to relax all of your muscles, because if you're tense at all, it's not going to go in. Definitely wet your cup when you put it in. I use the push down fold, so you just take it like that and then push it down like that, and then I kind of just wrap my fingers around it so it looks like that, and then this part like goes in like that, and then when you get it all the way up, it pops in and you're done. Another thing that I would definitely recommend doing, again with the relaxing, is, you know how like when you pee, this is gonna be so weird, but you know when you pee, you like put your pants like by your knees, and then so your knees are kind of like stuck together. So make sure that when you're putting your cup in, that you literally pull your pants all the way down to your ankles so that you can like open up as far as you can, because then you will definitely be able to do it way better, because it just didn't work with me if my legs are closed like that, because you don't have like that much mobility. So use your non-dominant hand to kind of like open everything up, and then you use your right hand to insert it. And another thing that make sure you're doing is when you have it like this, you can't open it until it's all the way in, which is definitely a lot harder than, like, it sounds harder than it actually is, but if you just work with it and keep it closed like this until it's all the way in, is going to be way better, and it's not going to open up quicker than it should, and it's going to be way more comfortable. And the third day is when it went in with no pain. It was a little bit uncomfortable when I first started like walking around, because I was like, whoa, I've never felt this in my body before, but I definitely got used to it. To make sure that it is suctioned to your body, you can do a little test, and that's with like sticking your finger around it and kind of like pushing it and trying to move it around. And if it doesn't move, then that means that it is suctioned and it is good. It kind of reminded me of the first time that I used a tampon, because the first couple times I used a tampon, I definitely could feel it inside of me, and it was a little bit uncomfortable. So it's kind of like that, but again, you get used to it and you get better at it once you practice more. I did get a couple sharp pains, which I'm not really sure why I got a couple sharp pains. Maybe it's because it was like moving around or something, or maybe it was because it was like foreign to my body or something, but I don't get those pains anymore, so I really don't think it matters. So I had it in for 2.5 hours, and then I had to take a little, I had to go number 2. So I've heard horror stories that people cannot poop without taking this out. So I decided to take it out after 2 hours. It was so much easier to take out than it was to put in. But the longer you wait to take it out, the harder it is going to be to take out. So I recommend, if you are starting, take it out more frequently so that you have more practice doing it. But that is a myth. I have gone number 2 without taking it out, so it definitely is possible. The second time that I put it in, I had it in for 6 hours, and it was definitely a lot harder to take out. I'll kind of do a demonstration of how I take mine out. This is the easiest way that I've found. So again, you relax everything, separate your legs, and then for me, I take my right hand and I try to find this, and so I grab a hold of this, and this part I kind of actually push a little bit. Like I push my muscles to try and like get it to like move out. So the first thing I do is I grab this, and then I kind of like wiggle it down, and then once I get it far enough out that I can grab the grippy part, I switch hands. So I grab the like string thing with my left hand, and then with my right hand I go in and I grab the grippy part and I squeeze it, and I kind of just like shimmy it until I get it further out, and then I take my whole hand and I wait until the suction comes undone, and you'll be able to like hear it. It'll like it's letting out air is kind of what it sounds like. And once I do that, I fold it into the C fold and I wiggle it out. So the C fold is actually one of the folds that you use to insert it, but I actually use it to take it out, and so it looks like this. So when it's like this, I just fold it like that and then wiggle it out, and it works perfectly fine. Day 4, I actually gave my body a little break because I had been like shoving this in and out of my body for a while. So I gave myself a break, and then I decided to wear it at night. And I was a little hesitant doing this because I have had bad experiences with wearing tampons at night. Just a quick little story. I forgot to take out my tampon one time, and I woke up with severe sharp pains down there, and it scared me to death. Because of the toxins in tampons, they do lead to some like illnesses and like diseases. There's like something, I don't know exactly what it's called, but there's something with tampons that if you wear them for too long, it's like something shock. I probably should have looked this up before I started this video. I'll put the name of it on the screen. But I was definitely scared of getting that, and so, I mean, it's pretty rare, but it still does happen. When I put this in at night, it literally felt like I did not have my period. Like, I couldn't smell any odors from my period. I couldn't feel anything coming out of my body, and it was just, like, really amazing because I didn't have to worry about my period anymore. Day 5 in the morning was when I took it out, and it took me a while to get it out because it just took so long because it had been up there for such a long time. When I started using the menstrual cup, I started getting very irregular periods, which is very weird for me because ever since 5th grade, I've had a 9-day period, and I have known exactly when it was going to come. I actually have a period tracker on my phone, so the day that it says it's gonna come, that's usually the day that it comes, or like a day before or like a day after. So my period lasted 5 days when I started using my menstrual cup, and then I didn't have it for a week, and then I got it again a week later. So I was kind of skeptical. I don't know if it has anything to do with the menstrual cup, or if it had something to do with me not using tampons anymore because of like the toxins and stuff in it, and my body was kind of like, whoa, like what's happening? So I don't know exactly what's going to happen. I'm just gonna kind of like keep an eye on it and talk to my doctor the next time that I go to the doctor's. But that is something that I noticed, and when I looked it up online to see like if menstrual cups do that, I couldn't find anything that said that menstrual cups did that, so I don't really know if it has anything to do with it. My second period, I obviously got it in on the first day, and that night, the first night of my period and the first day, I have the heaviest period, and my pads are always full and my tampons always leak, and that's exactly what happened with my menstrual cup. So I don't know exactly if it filled, but when I removed it after the first night, it looked pretty full. Like it was pretty full after the first day, and my pad was completely full. So I feel like from now on the first night of my period, I'm probably just gonna wear a pad because, I mean, if it's gonna leak anyway, what's the point of even putting the menstrual cup in? But I also don't know if it just like popped open because like at night you're sleeping in different positions. Another thing the menstrual cup does is it pushes on your bladder so much. When you put it in, you're gonna feel like you have to pee, but you don't. Like, that happens to me all the time. I put it in and I'm like, I just peed. Like, why do I have to pee again? But it's just because it's pushing on your bladder. And then, like, when you go to pee in the morning, like, after you wake up, it takes me, like, 2 minutes to drain all the pee out of my body because it comes out so slow. I'm like, it's, like, dripping out of me, and I'm like, come on, just, like, come out. I would not recommend this for middle school students. I used it as a junior in high school, and I would probably recommend at least a high school student. I don't know if I would even recommend this to like freshmen or sophomores. You could definitely try it, but you definitely have to be familiar with your period. I definitely recommend, if you are a tampon user, that you can definitely use this. If you're just a pad user, I would go from pads to tampons and then a menstrual cup, just because if you don't like tampons, you're probably not going to like this either. And it is extremely messy, so if you're a middle schooler and don't really know what your period is all about, and you're kind of like uncomfortable with blood or things like that, you're definitely going to get grossed out by this product, because if you think about it, when you pull this out, you dump your blood in the toilet, so there's just blood in the toilet, and I mean, it kind of just looks like food coloring, but like it's way thicker than food coloring, and you're gonna get blood all over your hands. So it's definitely not something that you want to do if you aren't comfortable with your body quite yet. Make sure that you are at home when you're using this, because you will need to wash your hands. They will have blood all over them. You will need to rinse this out when you're done. Make sure that these holes are not clogged, so just make sure you run them under hot water, and just make sure that the blood and chunky stuff comes out of it. I recommend washing this after every use, and then boiling it in between each period for like 5 to 7 minutes. I'm not sure if this did anything for my period cramps. For one of my periods, I only had cramps for the first day, and I had to use Advil the first day, and then like I was fine the rest of the time. But last time I used it, I had cramps for like 3 days. So I'm not really sure if it helps with cramps or not. I guess I'm just going to have to find out. Sometimes you definitely have to be forceful with it. You have to kind of like work with your body and like push it up, because I mean, if you're in pain, then definitely don't do that, but sometimes you have to put a little bit of force and effort into it to get it up there. And you have to work with your body too. Like if your body's rejecting it, then don't force it. You have to be patient with these kind of things, and you have to just learn with the process and just take your time, you know? You have your whole life to learn how to use a menstrual cup. And it does take more time than a tampon, so it usually takes me now probably like 1 to 2 minutes to put this in. At the beginning, it took me like 10 minutes to put it in, or more. It took 10 minutes plus to put it in at the beginning, just because it's a new thing that you're learning how to do. And it usually took me like 5 seconds to like slip a tampon in or put a pad. So it does take slightly longer to put this in than a tampon, but I definitely think it is worth it if you look at the pros and cons of the two different products. Sometimes I do find myself being like, oh, I don't want to put my menstrual cup in just because it takes 2 minutes longer than putting a tampon in. Sometimes the idea is just unappealing to me. Right now I am transferring from like using totally tampons to menstrual cups, so obviously I'm not going to just waste the tampons that I've bought. I literally have a whole bin of pads and tampons that I have not used, so I'm going to kind of just use those and then never buy them again. I probably will use pads just because the first couple days of my period I leak, so I will definitely use that the first couple days and then at night. But I'm planning on using the menstrual cup for probably like 80% of what I am using. That is all I have for you guys. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope if you are a girl, you decide to use this, don't be scared to use it. It's totally fine. And I hope that you guys can think of me as kind of like a mentor and a friend. Comment if you want to comment. I want to hear what you guys have to say about this product, or if you decide to do it. I'll see you in my next video.